Now, ladies and gentlemen, a little over a year ago, Counter-Strike saw its last active duty map pool change, that being on CSGO, not Counter-Strike 2. Valve one day out of the blue sent out a tweet alongside an update adding in Anubis and removing Dust 2. At the time, fans had mixed feelings. If you were to ask the average CS player what the most iconic map was in all of Counter-Strike, most would say Dust or Dust 2. That also extends to non-Counter-Strike players. If you were to have shown them a picture of Dust, and still to this day, they would probably most likely recognize it, that being from Counter-Strike, or a game they're familiar with, just by watching memes or videos on the internet. But going back to that time a little over a year ago, fans didn't really feel the same way about the map anymore since it wasn't really played as much as it once was. And dating back to a little over a year ago, players wanted something new, a new objective, a switch in the map pool just to freshen things up, which then Valve did deliver with something new, but it was a little different this time. It wasn't completely brand new, but yet it was familiar territory, where they reintroduced Anubis to Counter-Strike after adding it and then removing it in 2020. As we fast forward to the present day, that being today, Counter-Strike fans are pretty much in the same boat. Most want a new objective and a change of scenery to spicing things up for competitive play, and Counter-Strike fans, as it goes for right now, might just get exactly what they're asking for. As within the last few months, leaks through data mines, that being from Gabe followers, suggest Tusken is set to return in a remastered form, as well as alongside DE_Train, as it was first shown in the early days of the CS2 trailers. Today's commentary is going to be breaking down these new leaks, a discussion of what maps could be replaced if we do get Train and Tuscan, that being in the map pool, as well as a quick look at what these maps could look like inside Counter-Strike 2. Today's video sponsor is Skins Monkey. Skins Monkey is a buying and trading marketplace where you can trade off your old skins for something new. All you do is log in with Steam, then you trade the skins you no longer want to pick up the new skins you want to obtain. Any remaining cash from trading goes to your balance that can be used in any future trade. By using my code MANDO, you can get up to a free $5, and if you choose to deposit alongside using my code, you get a total of a 35% deposit bonus. With Skins Monkey's large variety of skins, they also offer daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways. If interested, it'll be the top of the link in the description below. Now this is Luke in the post edit. We've recently seen a new community-wide hype around a cache remake by F-Foam on Twitter, and I gotta say it looks stunning, especially a lot better than the previous iterations of it. Not even by playing the map, we can already see clarity and improvements in the latest version inside CSGO. When this map is complete and added to the workshop, if it's received well at launch and maybe later on after some adjustments, Valve could very well bring this alongside Train back to Counter-Strike 2 and maybe even throw them in the map pool. If that were to happen, it would happen by the end of 2024. We're gonna have a video discussing all and everything cache, such as a new collection, why it got removed from the map pool in the first place, and some small innovations to make it even better. Today's video is mainly focusing on Train and Tuscan. Tuscan was recently found in the game files, and it seems to be it's going to be added to Counter-Strike 2 at any point. Now, firstly, for today's video, I want to discuss these leaks, that being for Tuscan. As Train, we already know it's coming to the game, it's been in the files, Valve is somehow right now remastering it, it's been in a lot of the trailers, but Tuscan, for a lot of people, this is brand new news. Now, as it goes for the map Tuscan, there's probably half of the community that's really excited, but there's probably a big majority, especially these newcomers to Counter-Strike, that have no idea what the map Tuscan is, or even if it was in CSGO. Now, for a quick backstory, Tuscan was first introduced to CSGO in August of 2022. Later that year, Valve bought Tuscan alongside Anubis for $150,000 each. At the time, it was poorly optimized and didn't appeal to the heavy casual audience, and for good reason. The map was absolutely humongous, a little too big for Counter-Strike. It played and still to this day plays a lot different than most of every other map, especially in the active duty map pool. And I felt the same way until I gave it a really fair shot, where I played a few matches on it for a few days in a row. I actually started to really enjoy it. It's just a different taste or genre of map and just play style. The map plays a lot different, that's what I'm trying to say. Fast forwarding to Counter-Strike 2's release, most players who knew that Valve bought Tuscan but also Anubis for $150,000 each wondered why Valve wouldn't have or want to showcase this specific new map in their shiny new product. Now, Anubis out of the two was the only map to make it into the full game, but that's because it was in the active duty map pool, the pros had to play on it, and that was just part of Premiere. Which that now leads to discussion of if Tuscan came back and it came in the map pool, what map would that specifically replace? And for us to even have a discussion about this, I want to take a look at the most played maps in Premiere, but also the pro scene. Both are very important. I know some people are going to say the pro scene is more important, but Valve makes a majority of their money, and the majority of player count is on the casual side of things. Now, if you go to Google at this very moment, maybe within a 2-week span, we'll probably stop, but you type in Counter-Strike 2's least played maps, Inferno is going to be the very top. Specifically, this is for the professional scene. If you look at IEM Katowice 2024, there's dozens of different websites with different articles saying, well, Inferno was the least played, why is that, why pros don't like it, and so on and so forth. BO3.GG has a statement for an example. Surprisingly, the most popular map at IEM Katowice 2024 was Nuke, which was played 12 times and banned 11, but the most unpopular was Inferno, which was banned 24 times and only played 2 whole times. It seems like the new updated version of Inferno in Counter-Strike 2, professional players don't like it so much, which that statement itself and that stat is pretty crazy, considering that Inferno was one of the most played maps, one in competitive, that being matchmaking, but also the professional scene dating back to CSGO. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering the reasoning for this, of why Inferno is not played too much in Counter-Strike 2. Knowing from what some of my friends, but also professional players have said over the past 6 months, is Inferno is just overall too claustrophobic over here in in CS2. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's the colors, maybe it's just the rework of the map. In this rework of Inferno, Valve also added a lot of different new tight corners that weren't previously here in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. People can camp more, peek out of a corner at any random time that you don't know they're there from, and just play the map differently. And this has been a very common theme in a lot of different commentaries I've had on the channel, but Counter-Strike players, and well, all gamers, but specifically CS players, hate change, and this is one of the prime examples. In this map, before it was added to Counter-Strike 2 back in CSGO, it was an extremely hard map to hold or even play as a CT. With the addition of no skyboxes on the map, you can pretty much throw any nades in any direction, any orientation from any point on the map, so it's extremely hard to adapt in that situation, but overall counter, and pretty much just doesn't play with the version from CSGO. That's the big conception here. As it goes for the casual audience over here on Premier, Anubis is one of the least played maps amongst casuals, and for a good reason. One, the map is new. Counter-Strike players don't like change, but a lot of people do have the reasons. One of them, it doesn't really run the greatest, especially over here in CS2. Any map with water, especially if you have a mid to low end PC, it's going to run your computer into the ground. And what's really odd here about casuals versus professionals, Inferno, instead of it being the least played map, it's actually the second most played map right beside Mirage. There's been a lot of talk about Mirage getting taken out of the game, or just the map pool entirely, but getting taken out of the game entirely is never going to happen. Amongst professional players and the casual audience, it's one of the most played maps, but it being removed from the active duty pool but still being in the game while also getting reworked to be put into the Source 2 engine to get the Source 2 charm is not out of the possibility. The map is 10 years old and looks pretty outdated over here inside CS2. Mirage and Inferno could be getting the boot, but would be extremely odd not to see the most two OG maps stay in the pool. There's a lot of people who don't like a lot of the new maps that get added to Counter-Strike, even after years of trying to give them a shot. Especially right now, Mirage and Inferno are some of the only maps a lot of people can only run. Not that that's really a great excuse. And I'll also mention that Tusken being added to CS2 doesn't necessarily mean it'll be added to the map pool. Anubis was added to the map pool after being bought for $150,000 alongside Tusken. Why wouldn't Valve do anything with it after spending so much money? It's just a lot of questions with no real answers, and we probably won't get any for a little while. Now, as we already touched on Tusken, I now want to talk about TRAIN over here in Counter-Strike 2. You can actually find this in the workshop right now. It's on an updated version. It's not really optimized for the Source 2 engine, but it'll do for today's video. TRAIN was and has always been a map that it's been extremely controversial. That being mainly to play, but it's always one hell of a match to watch, especially amongst professional players. Now, the reasoning a lot of players dislike it is essentially this thing was opping heaven. Long ranges of focus, it was extremely hard to hold a site or a certain angle if you pushed in numbers. Doesn't matter how many nades you throw down range, you were just kind of screwed. That being on CT or T side. If the CT economy was stomped upon, it was extremely hard to come back. But also on the T side, you had to get extremely creative just to win a singular round. And you'd have to rinse and repeat into the half or to the very end of the game. It just took a lot of brains to play it, and it wasn't necessarily a map everyone wanted to hyper focus on and ruin their entire day by losing over. TRAIN on the Source 2 engine would be absolutely amazing with the new lines of smoke. There's probably going to be some small areas they'd add like Inferno where it's just little corners here and there that would give the map a new charm, but this also could worry me, and this goes for any rework, that being Mirage even in the future. Players could dislike it for what's exactly happening to Inferno right now and what Valve did to it when it released. But who knows, over time, Counter-Strike players might just come to love Inferno once again, that being with every map. Counter-Strike players don't really adapt well to change, but in the future, if it's here to stay, they'll probably just get used to it and enjoy it over time. Now let me know what you guys think down below. As it goes for when these will come to the game, specifically Tusken, because this is the most recent one found in the game files and it looks like it's almost ready to launch. At the very least, we're most likely not going to see this until sometime in the summer, maybe fall of this year. The major's coming up in Copenhagen within the next few weeks. We're probably going to get the stickers within the next 2 to 3 weeks, and that sale is probably not going to conclude until the end of spring. Valve never tends to add content or likes to make big changes to the game, especially while a big tournament is on, and I don't think this time is any different. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay positive, stay sexy. I'm out, guys.